All right, so in the last lecture, you learned that how you can display the name of the hike in the list, which was amazing because it was only few lines of code. Now, let's go ahead and make our list even better by adding an image to the list. Now, the first thing obviously we need is, well, the image are the images. So you can go online, get any image that you want. I am just going to try to get some images and display it or put it under the preview content. Now, a preview content assets is a little bit different from assets. You can see the preview content are the assets that you will use when you are developing your app. So you don't really want this content to be deployed to the production. So if you're just testing it out, if you're a developer just testing out, then stuff you can put in preview content will be the assets that are just used for developing. And that is perfect for us because maybe in the future we want to read all those images from the internet, from a web, and not from hard-coded files. So let's go ahead and first drag all of these images that I have. So that's the first image. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to something else. I'm going to say SAL, Sal. And let's go ahead and get the other image. And obviously you can use any image you want. So these are some images that I got from the web. And here we go, the last one, we will call it Tom. All right, so we have all of these images and we want to display it in our list control. So how do we do that? Well, the simplest one would be to use the built-in controls to display the images. And one of those built-in controls is the image control. So what we want to do is to put the text on the right-hand side, so right over here, and the image on the left-hand side. So the best way of doing that would be to simply wrapping it up with HStack or horizontal stack. There we go. So if you wrap the text with the horizontal stack, you can see there's no difference, but now you can put some stuff or other controls inside the horizontal stack. And this is where we can actually go and use the image control and pass in the hike.image URL. Remember that this is one of the properties. And there we go. You can see that the image is actually being displayed. Now, obviously the image is way too big. So let's go ahead and make it resizable by calling resizable on it. Okay, that's a little bit better, but it's still too big. Maybe we can even set the frame of the image. So we can say 100. And since we want the height to be equal, so we'll also say 100. Great. Now it's looking really good. It would be nice if we can actually go ahead and make the corner radius to be a little bit more curved. So 16 is fine. And there we go. With only a few lines of code, we were able to add the image, and right next to the image, we add the text. This is all really good. Now, one thing that you have to be a little bit careful about is that you're putting all of this code inside the list, which is fine, which works perfectly well, but it would be nice if all of this code that you're using for the cell of the list would be in a separate component or a separate view. So let's go ahead and refactor it. So I'm going to do a command click on the horizontal stack or the H stack. Now, one of the things that you will see in this menu is something called the extract subview. And if you select extract subview, what it will do is that it will extract the subview and it will create a new structure called extracted view. Basically, this is a child control that will represent your cell. So first of all, let's go ahead and call this something else, not extracted view. So I'm just going to call it hike cell. Perfect. And we will go over here and say hike cell. Now, one of the other questions you might be asking is that should I be using this in a separate file or should I just use it in the same file? This is completely up to you. I think if your hiking cell is getting a little bit more complicated and you intend to use it in different parts of your app, then maybe it is a good idea to put it in a under views, under cells, and like that kind of a hierarchy. But right now, since we only have one hiking page with hiking cell, it's perfectly fine to just put it right inside that file. And as it grows, then we will take a decision to move it out into a separate file. Okay, so now we are having an issue because it's saying that the hike on line number 33 and 37, there is no such thing as hike. So inside hiking cell or hike cell, there is no such thing as the hike. So we need to pass in the hike. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and create a hike, which is just a variable of type hike. And since this is a structure, it will automatically create an initializer in which you have to pass in the hike. And I'll show you right now over here on line number 18. You can see that now we have to pass in the hike, which we already have, so we can simply pass in the hike. Let's go ahead and build that. The output shouldn't be different. It's going to be exactly the same. So if you go ahead and resume the app, the output should be exactly the same. And I can actually go ahead and press on the play button, and you can see the output is exactly the same. It's just a little bit more better because you were able to extract out the hiking cell and were able to display it or to put it in a different place. So now anytime you want to change the hiking cell, you simply just go into hike cell and then add some stuff to it. And let's go ahead and do that actually. Right now we have our text, but it would be nice if we also display the number of miles. So hike, and I will say hike dot miles, but miles is actually double, so you can't really display it like that. So let's go ahead and use string interpolation. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So this much, so whatever, 6 miles. And it displays kind of like that. You can see that how it is displaying. First of all, it has a lot of zeros. Second of all, we want it to get displayed underneath the name of the hike right over here instead of on the side. So this means that we can actually take advantage of the vertical stack so that the text of the hike name and the other one, which is the miles, are actually one underneath each other. In the vertical stack, we also want the things to be left aligned. So let's go ahead and put the alignment to be leading. There we go, perfect. And now the final thing we need to do is we need to remove these extra zeros. There are way too many zeros going on. So for that, you will have to use something called string, pass in the format, and in the format you can specify that we'll be only getting 2 digits after the dot, after the decimal sign, and go ahead and inject the value miles. So now you can see that it looks really good. Each of the hike trail names along with the number of miles, each over here, number of miles, and great. And I can go ahead and run this also, and it looks perfectly fine. Now obviously if I try to click on any one of these, you'll see that it doesn't really go anywhere. So the next step would be to actually add a navigation and then see that if we can simply go and display a text view with the name of the selected hike. And then later on from there, we will go ahead and change it where we can actually go to a detailed screen. But the next step for us is to add a navigation bar and a navigation to our list view. So let's go ahead and learn that in the next lecture. If you like this video and want to learn more about SwiftUI, then check out my best-selling course on SwiftUI called SwiftUI Declarative Interfaces for Any Apple Device. This is the best-selling course with over 1,500 students enrolled, and this course is around 12.5 or even more than 12.5 hours, close to 13 hours, and it will show you everything that you want to do with basically SwiftUI. We're going to start with learning about building list and navigation. Then you're going to start learning about state and binding, very important. Then you're going to jump into understanding MVVM design pattern, how to create or how to use MVVM design pattern to create a complete app that will do get as well as post. After that, you will jump into property wrappers, forms, even integrating core data with SwiftUI. And finally, SwiftUI for all devices, meaning I'm going to show you how you can write apps that will run on SwiftUI for iOS, watchOS, as well as macOS. Now, the best way to get this course is simply to use the link in the description of the YouTube video. If you use that link, then you will get the best price, and to be honest, I get to keep a little bit more revenue from Udemy. So please use the link if you want to support my channel, support my videos. Your contributions really help and motivates me to create more videos. Please use the link in the YouTube description. And if you are interested, there are a lot of other courses that I have done. So try out all the courses. I'm very active in Udemy community, so I will be able to answer your questions also. So thank you so much, and go ahead and buy the course and enjoy the course. Thank you.